Let's talk about the royals. I get accused of being anti-Harry and Meghan. I'm just going to nail this. I'm not anti-Harry and Meghan, or rather I wasn't when they said, I want out of the goldfish bowl and I want to go and have a life and bring up my kids. Fine, respect that. Jump on a plane, jump off the plane, sign a deal with Netflix. You do a Netflix doc, you write the book, and seemingly you just use every opportunity to trash the only thing that anybody has any interest in you because of, i.e. the monarchy. The latest is, despite destroying the monarchy, calling them racist, calling them all the names under the sun, after their daughter Lilibet's christening this week, yesterday announced that they are using Princess Lilibet and Prince Archie because it's their birthright. Legally, that is absolutely right. We've still got the whole coronation thing up in the air, and who better to run through this with a man whose system is working, please God. Rupert Bell, welcome to breakfast. It's been too long, Belly. Where have you been, man?
Well, haven't been invited to speak to you, Jeremy. That's why. But it's lovely to be back to cop some abuse from you. But
no abuse, no abuse. We'll get some Cheltenham winners for you before the end of the part. Can we talk royals? Because I've been talking about this a lot on JK Live this week. Let's start with the latest. You know, from the Prince and Princess of Montecito, the fresh Prince and Princess of Montecito. Can you explain to me how they can accuse the royal family of being racist? That famous comment when they said, you know, somebody asked how brown, I think, terrible comment, their child might be. Say there's truth in that, and say that some of the things that have been said about some of the palaces is true. Why now have they decided, with a few weeks to go to the coronation, to suddenly invoke the birthright of their children and use Prince and Princess? Because people will say, Rupert, that it's just the same manipulation again.
It is, and funnily enough, it seemed like all the paparazzi that she was complaining about did seem to be appearing at that restaurant that she was at in California yesterday, and it seemed to be pretty staged managed what was going on. So, you know, once again, you know, appalled about the press, yet there she was quite happily being photographed and smiling in her designer outfits, coming out of this posh restaurant in Los Angeles, the day after, of course, it comes out about the Prince and Princess news for their children. Now, they're perfectly entitled to do that, but it does still beg the question, why? When you look at other members of the royal family in similar situations, Princess Royal, married to Captain Mark Phillips at the time, he could have accepted a title from the Queen, because that, just like it's fairly normal for that to happen, but he said no, and his children remained Master and Miss, and had no title. The Prince Edward has not adopted the Princess with Louise or his two children.
That's absolutely
Yet
true.
These two have, the Duke of York has, and it seems like in America, why? Because that is that's where you've chosen to live. Yet now, okay, it's only going to be used in official, and they say when they get older they can choose to use it or not. But I thought the whole point of Harry and Meghan was they saw the institution as outdated.
Yep.
Well, they've just proved that it's not outdated by wanting their children to have the titles.
I mean, it's that whole, like, to me, it's like have your royal cake and eat it. And I know that probably sounds very cynical. I repeat what I said at the beginning, because I get slaughtered by people who say you're being very unfair to them. But how are you supposed to not look unfavourably at a man? Let's take Harry, for example, OK? They say to me, obviously, he always wanted out. Yes. They say to me that the man was traumatised by what happened to his mother. Real sympathy. So what does he do this week? He charges $1,000 a pop for tickets to watch him in some sort of immersive chat about mental health and a question and answer. Now, he will say that that is shining a light on the need to open up and talk. I get that. Why are you charging then? If it all is about money, and then people say to me, Rupert, right? So people say, yeah, but that's industrious. He's trading the one thing that he's got, but he's trading on the one thing that he spends his entire life trashing. That's the point.
Yes, and actually, even last week, that $20 session or whatever it was, so you could get a free copy of Spare, he's actually saying he wants his family to have, so they can speak his language, go and have therapy. And this thing the other day was the $1,000 one, I think was a part of the company he's working for. So he's monetizing his company, which, okay, if you work, if that's your primary function, he says, I get up every day and my mission is to help people. Well, that's a very worthy set of standards, and yes, it's fine. But the upshot is, if you don't like the royal family and the institution of the royal family, that maybe is the problem and what it means, then distance yourself. And that means protect your children from it. And making them be prince and princess in America, where there are no titles, just seems to me to be fake of them.
And you make a really interesting point. We had Kinsey Schofield on the Lady with the Today podcast daily in the States, and she was telling me exactly what you just said. Everything that they've done is about brand Sussex, let's say, in America. The American people are turning on the Sussexes and this whinge fest. And you're absolutely right. That Princess Lilibet and Harry, who are, and Archie, who are going to be brought up in America, they are going to stick out like sore thumbs because of those very titles. Then we'll move it on to the coronation room. And I've got a different opinion to a lot of people. I actually think they will come. And I think they'll come because the oxygen that they use from the whole monarchy thing, they'd be missing out, wouldn't they? But I fear if they do, it'll be an absolute... I think it will not overshadow it, but it's not going to go away, is it?
No, I do think they will come, because I think there is an element that the king does want his son there, whatever's gone on. And you've got to put it down to a straight family relationship. This is the most important day in the king's life. It's what he's waited until his mid-70s for. And of course he wants all his family around. Of course, we believe, like I'm sure all members of the royal family have had everyone knows when it is, and they would be expecting to attend, particularly the son. So just forget the rubbish about, oh, we need an invitation. There's an open invitation for him. What needs to be managed is how we stop the soap opera element to their business. You can't,
and all the people who go, oh, you're creating the soap opera on talk because you're always having a go. No, I live in Windsor. When that picture, I keep telling this about the four of them walking down. You know this is true. I was out there with Oliver pushing him around. There was a Netflix crew 100 yards behind them. You cannot have it both ways. Leave the goldfish bowl. But they know, don't they, that the only way they can make money, they know that the only way that they can sustain any, I think, interest in the public eye is for their association with the very thing that they trash. And that's what sticks in my gullet. If you don't want to be part of it, I salute you, go. But you're using it for your own ends financially.
And yes, and even last week's christening, they're saying, well, we offered them to come. How can the king suddenly just go to America? And they would have had no control over that.
Well, hold on a second, Root. You're talking security. Why the hell should he go when he's been called a racist by them? Why would he go to America? Tyler Perry said, and I quote, as he climbed off his $125 million jet, I don't want to go to England and meet those people. I mean, OK, so you want Tyler Perry, that just sums it up to me, right? But why would the Prince and Princess of Wales have gone there, having been slagged off by them so completely? I hope they come to the coronation, and as one person wrote in a newspaper today, and I don't know which one it was, I hope they put him behind the biggest bloody pillar wherever it's being held, don't you?
I think they won't be in the forefront because, again, they don't want it to be a distraction. And this whole thing, of course, Tyler Perry's the godfather to Lilibet, I think it is. And so he would have been there. And so, again, the optics, sometimes I don't know whether they actually try and read the room. And when you go back to when Chris Rock is making that in his show, those jokes about Meghan, that mainstream America, or certainly parts of America now, are beginning to say enough's enough. And when we had South Park, we've had Chris Rock, they have a problem. And the only way they see now, without being seen a figure of fun, is to try and ingratiate their way back into the royal family.
Well, the interesting thing, the analogy you make there is brilliant, which is America, right? Because what they've done, I think, by monetising the monarchy, and as I make the point, I try and balance it, some people would say that's industrious. What they've done is they've gone from royalty to celebrity through their own choice. And if you go to celebrity in America, they will have a go and not turn on you, but they will certainly go for you. And I think that Meghan and Harry have gone from being, in their minds, these, people's champions, and we're going to change, do some good and shut up then, because all I ever hear about is you slagging off the monarchy. Now, be anti-royal, you have a right. That is absolutely anybody's right. But you can't... It's like... I don't know. You can't be inside something slagging it off. Leave. Turn your back on it. I tell you one final question, actually. If they do come, and I do believe they will now, what sort of reaction do you think they'll get?
It's going to. I'm sure there are people who support them and believe what they're doing is absolutely right. But at the same time, my feeling is there are great swathes of this population who actually think they have been ultimately hugely disrespectful to an institution that is not without its flaws. Let's be quite clear.
Completely.
And we know people don't believe in it, and there are people who say it's an outdated institution. But it's the one we've got, and it defines us as a country. And that's why I do know there are lots of people who want to come from abroad to see it and be part of something that is unique, because we don't really see these kind of coronations or celebrations taking place in other countries. It is something uniquely British, but it is a flawed institution. But Harry and Meghan have made it quite clear they don't like this institution. So then please back up what you feel and be true to yourself, not because you think ultimately you have to do it, because otherwise this villa, you'll have to move out of this multi-million-dollar villa because the money will dry up. Try and be true to yourself. And yesterday's example of Meghan Markle walking out of that restaurant is, once again, the hypocrisy of that. Don't like the press, but I'll use them every which way when it's necessary and on my terms. That is not really okay. You want things done fairly, but you know that she says one thing and the other thing is happening.
I have to tell you, fantastic, Ru. I agree with you in each and every way. Your thoughts, don't go anywhere, Rupert. Your thoughts, please, on the whole royal thing. 0344 499 1000. Maybe you're pro Harry and Meghan. I want to hear from you. Rupert, very quickly, one tip for next week. Cheltenham, I'll give you one. Give me a winner.
Protectorate each way, Cheltenham Gold Cup today week 3:30. See you next week, I assume.
No chance. The most talented staying chaser in Britain will get Paul Nicholls back in the winners' enclosure. Brave man's game in the Gold Cup next Thursday. I'll see you there, Belly.